Hello and welcome back to a Druid Blight cast to life. This is level 12, Purple Does Poison, and this is take 2 because I was trying to show you the Castle Ravenloft quest, and I walked into the first room with those with Strahd and the two big shadow things and got absolutely annihilated. That was on Reaper 2. There was a famine reaper appeared in there, and just I would love to say I came close, but the truth is they absolutely hammered me. So shame on me for that. And yes, I lost my 10-15 minutes of waffle beforehand, so it's going to have to be re-recorded. So what have we got to tell you? The red fence is behind us now. We did pretty well in there. For the level 12 feat, I still can't decide, where I should be investing myself. You can improve one school. That we've got so many: transmutation, conjuration, evocation, and necromancy. I just don't know where to commit to. So as we seem to be constantly struggling for spell points, and a spell crit is never a bad thing, I took improved mental toughness. I'm sure the purists would be screaming at that, saying I should have committed one way or another. But it is what it is. I don't plan to run this build at the cap, because I'll run all the way, to the cap in epics, but I don't have any end gear specific to this, and I really don't like farming, so I'm not going to be hunting around for it. But that's that. So what do we get for level 12? It all changed with the enhancements now. So I've removed quite a few from the Season's Herald to enable us to max out in here and see what kinds of things we can achieve in doing that. So we've just got one extra DC there for 3 different spell schools. We've got the excellent Grasping Thorns spell-like ability, very good crowd control, decent damage, especially when you ally it with this Vile Thorns. So the Thorn spells are now doing acid damage as well. So that's very nice. So the Thorn spell does negative damage from this enhancement, plus the acid damage. It's just a pity the acid damage doesn't apply also to the spike growth. Or maybe it does. I don't think that's classed as a thorn spell, is it? It doesn't say so, does it? I think it would be somewhat overpowered because it's already doing double damage from this enhancement here. So yes, the only downside to the Grasping Thorn is it's on a 30-second cooldown. Otherwise, that's really good. I've tested it a little bit already. We've got a thing here to break opponents' acid immunity. So when we hit them with an acid spell, they become vulnerable and can be killed by it. Super nice. So things like wisps in Ravenloft, just hit them with the damage over time. The first tick doesn't hurt them, but the rest will kill them. So that's nice. Or if you're surrounded by a group of acid immune, just hit the acid cloud and the subsequent ticks will kill them. So I'm liking that. What else have we got to tell you? Oh yes, that's an important one, the 4th core in there, which brings our Death Eater max stack size to 4, meaning we have 150 temporary hit points usually going on. So that's really nice. Actually, in the recording that I've just lost because we died, I made the point quite rightly that the only time that's not effective is when you're facing boss type characters. So you're not keeping up your stream of kills and keeping up the temporary hit points. So those 2 big shadows in that first room with Strahd in the Castle Ravenloft quest, backed up ably by a famine reaper, I wasn't killing anything, and they were doing a really good job at piercing my temporary shield and annihilating me. So that happened in very short order. So that's the point at which you're vulnerable. If you're just motoring through a quest killing trash, then I really don't see too many problems, especially not running at low Reaper. I'm thinking that I might follow the same strategy I have with the standard Druid when we go into the epic. Remove all these spell-like abilities because most of them probably won't scale up very well. So remove them, replace them with the I think that's going to be 15 points free. It'll cost me 12 points to get the maximise cost reduction things, so I'll take those, and something else for maximising the in the epic trees. Now I've been told that you can actually get to a stage where it's in a negative, so at the moment maximise costs us 25 points to put onto a spell, which is obviously a huge no-no at the present moment in time. We can reduce that to 7 by taking all these, double maximising there. And if we reduced it to, say, I don't know, minus 2 by taking another 9 off maximising an epic tree, we could get to a stage where putting maximise on a spell would actually lower the cost of that spell instead of raising it, which would be a nice place to be for a build that's fairly thirsty for spell points. So that's that. Spells at this level, I thought about taking the spell version of Grasping Thorns because we can have that at level 6, and that would get around the long cooldown of this. In fact, given the content that we are doing at the moment, I probably should. I road tested Necrotic Ray in one of those Dragonborn quests, and it did really, really well. It was the one on the is it Black and Blue, where you've got people in 1s and 2s standing on those little islands surrounded by the electric water, and single target damage really does nicely there. And this thing was just slicing through opponents. It was doing 1,000 plus on a crit. But I think for Ravenloft it probably would be a good idea, as we are in a tavern, to switch that out. So we'll put that there because we're not using the acid blast so much, are we? And put that in there. I'll definitely plan to pick up that Necrotic Ray again later because it's one of those that scales up quite high. Look at the max caster level there, 25. So that's going to be useful all the way through epic as a single target death dealer. The only problem being quite a few things are immune to neg energy, but you can't have everything. So I'll just quicken that. Now how many does that cost? Quickened 40, so it's a bit dear, but we'll live with it. That's going to be our best form of crowd control. For some reason the icons are different when you have the standard spell. It's like that, this reddy orange background, and the spell like ability from the tree, although it's got the same icon on the tree, when you fit it to the bar, it's like this thing here, a bit like the splinter bolty type thing. So it confused me at first. I didn't know where it was in the enhancement list. So that's the spells. What else have we got? Yes, just a word on this Ravenloft business in general. one of you, I was discussing it in the comments with one of you, and you mentioned, and I agree, that it's definitely the most immersive of the expansions. And then there was this business about the teleporting. The taverns all have a teleporter like this one over here in the corner to take you to right to the door of all the quests without having to run at all through the wilderness, to the extent that many of us in the game don't know, haven't seen the Ravenloft wilderness at all, which is nice for the element of the game who are running XP potions and don't want to be messing about running through wilderness to the quests. But there's another sort of side which you experience when you run through the Feywild, for example, with no teleporters. And it can be quite nice to just run through there, especially when discovering it for the first or second time. I'll long remember my first venture into the Feywild up towards the top there, towards the Bitterspine Palace area, with the snow falling and the Northern Lights thing going on in the background. I thought that was great. So there are two schools of thought there with the teleporter thing. Right, I think we've licked our wounds long enough. If you happen to hear some noises in the background, apologies for that. They're digging up the road outside. We've had problems with power outages in this area for the last 2 or 3 days, and they're digging holes all over the place to try to get to the bottom of the problem. So we're definitely going in cautious this time. As I say, I had it on Reaper 2 and I got absolutely mauled. So we'll go in on 1. Oops, I don't know what sort of a cooldown this Grasping Thorns is on. The standard spell, I know that one is on a 30-second cooldown, isn't it? So we should have an embarrassment of crowd control. Gear wise it's exactly the same, except I've swapped to transmutation goggles. You'll have noticed I've got goggles for every occasion Kenneth crafted. So the transmutation is to help the spike growth and the grasping thorns, both of which I expect us to use and abuse during the course of the next few quests.
Madam Eva's words echo in your mind. An artifact, a trap, a friend. But will you know which is which when you find it?
I think I mentioned at the start of the last aborted recording that most people, certainly most groups, would go into this room, do the dialogue with Strahd and teleport DDO straight out. And I proceeded to illustrate perfectly the reason for that. This initial fight against these shadows is pretty tough. You can go round the back behind this organ to make the initial opponents only attack you, a couple at a time.
I am, of course, Count Strahd von Zarovich, your host. Strahd's laughter echoes across the hall, and his form dissolves in the mist. The door slams shut.
Trying to get some damage over time on that shadow over there. Oh, one of them got annihilated by the yeah, much better. Okay, we'll take it. They put this curse on you as well that's not happy times. That went much better. I think it goes better without the old Famine Reaper. That's twice now in this life. Famine Reaper's led to a very swift demise for me. I've mentioned before, oh, where am I going? I've mentioned before, I think, that I don't have an anti-magic item like the... I looked it up the other day, the Ion Stone, the Not purple, not violet. I can't remember. You guys all know the one, the spell resistance ion stone. In fact, if we just bring it up here, we'll find it. It's the only one that's on for bucket loads of shards. There you go. Pale lavender ion stone. Highly recommended. Okay, so the treasure card and the ally card you always need to go for if you don't know the quest. The death card is an optional fight with Strahd. So it's telling us third floor and servants' quarters. We'll go down for the servants' quarters first. So down one floor from where we come in, unless you're a muppet like me and jump down two by accident and into the middle of this mess. I should be making much more use of that for the crowd control. Yeah. Now that's one handy element. You'll have seen me do that in a previous quest in the Jungle of Khyber, cheating the beholder. He's struggling to hit us, I think, and we were able to hit him with the damage over time thing, the swarm. I think one of my pairs of goggles has a feather fall on it, so I really should swap that on when I'm messing about like that on the stairs. So the servants' quarters is just up this way. There can sometimes be a load of opponents in here. Not today. Oh, don't do this game. Oh, come on. If it bugs out now. Oh, thank God. I was going to say if it bugs out now, I'm going to continue the recording. I'm not going to do the speech at the start again. Then again, you missed a load of me waffling about the poxy English weather. So you didn't miss much from the first one.
Not told you of the ward barriers around the castle and the keystone needed to escape them.
So we're going up to the third floor now.
Would be all for naught.
Into the study. Oh, actually, there's a second floor now. It's telling us the keystone, the chapel. We'll do that on the way up. Now that one, when you kill the red boss in there, everything else dies. So bear that in mind when you're doing the targeting. Oh, that's the first floor. The open doorway is the first floor, floor number 1, where you come into the staircase. So use that to orient yourself. We're looking for the second floor, which is that. You can have a chest here if you just speak to this guy about this chest here. Is there a key?
An elderly man scratching away with quill at paper. He ignores you, completely absorbed in his work. With a little arm twisting, Lipsiege relinquishes the key to his chest. With a shrug, he begins to dutifully deduct the contents from Strahd's accounts.
Let's see if we can block this corridor. Oh crud, what happened there? Do we not have... Oh, somebody cast Dispel Magic on us? We should have... yeah, they must have done. We should have all sorts of resists and Night shield. I wondered about that when the magic missile hit us. It must have been that first fight with those shadow things. Right, okay. So let's try and muller this priest.
Putrid evil radiates from this skeletal corpse as it rises to challenge you. His eyes
Nice, okay.
malice, and dark prayers to evil gods whisper from its form. With a shriek of rage, the lingering spirit
So,
of this
floor
evil
3
priest
now.
is banished from this realm.
These spectral strikes, if you hold your shield down, you can block the attacks. So up one to floor number 3. Again, the change in the grasping thorns to have all the virus stuff is quite nice. Somebody just inviting us to do the saga there. So the study is round here. Couple of collectibles. And the treasure, and we can just see it there now. There's another of these shadow things here, so let's get ready.
There is the icon of Ravenloft. As you draw near, something moves within the fireplace. This treasure is not unguarded.
Now that's one thing I didn't know, that they were subject to crowd control. They stayed there long enough to be hammered by all that, so that was great. I wish I could say that was planned. The reality is I just panicked and pressed every big button I had.
A sense of peace washes
So
over
now, oh, spot the deliberate mistake. I went to the chapel, killed the guardian, and didn't collect the keystone. Well done. Just in case I couldn't be more error strewn, we've conspired to make another one. So down one. The word of balance for the Reaper, super duper against them. If I hadn't, I'm sure I've explained that before. It's because they are 2 alignments away from true neutral, so they take double the damage from that. The word of balance gives more damage the further away a target is from true neutral, and no damage at all against neutral targets, so just be wary of that when you're using it. Can be really devastating against Reapers in particular. I find it super helpful. And that's just a standard spell you're seeing. There's just Quicken on there. If we put metas on there, it would annihilate them. In fact, maybe there's a case for at least maximizing it. So we just do a hammer blow against a Reaper. What do we think? No, too many mana. I can't believe I forgot that. Still, as I've said often enough, making all the mistakes on this channel so you folks don't have to. Escaping through the South Tower top. Which means that we don't have to do the dragons, nor do we have to do the golems, so there's no excuse here for failure now. But in the time it takes us to run there, I'll probably have thought of one or two anyway. What could possibly go wrong? Right.
The portrait of Strahd here is amazingly lifelike.
Lightning storm, let's get some extra power. Damage over time. Now let's try and drag everything to our little circle of doom here. It's just occurred to me, for something like what I've just done there, the Thornkin would have probably been in a much better position, because I think when they're standing inside one of those growth things, don't they get 15 PRR and MRR bonus? Anyway, we made it. Happy days. If I ever become even slightly proficient at editing, I could certainly collect up the all the deaths and the horrible mistakes, the outtakes, and make a fairly amusing compilation of them, I'm sure. That one at the start of this aborted quest was certainly one amongst that. I went in and I described all the potential pitfalls and then proceeded to demonstrate them very clearly by getting annihilated.
Sure enough, the icon of Ravenloft is still there. You have done it. With a sigh of relief, you wonder if you will cross paths with Esmeralda again.
Okay. I think that's just about it for this one. Was there anything else? No. I'm planning to do some more of Ravenloft, as well as bits in Desert Sands. Certainly the flagging quests for the raid, because one of you mentioned that we should have a showdown with the I forget what she's called, the lady in there, the snake lady. And I have a feeling I know which way that's going to turn out, especially given the ass kicking I've just had in this quest. But it's been on the cards, so I will duly deliver. I think that's enough waffle for now. Hope you're all doing good, and I will speak to you in the next one. Take care.